Hey everyone, this is Andy from Gizchina, and today we're looking at the Asus Zenfone 2. This is the Chinese version of the phone, model number ZE551ML. It is a tiny bit different to the international version of the phone, the main difference being that this doesn't come with Google services installed out of the box. But the good news is it's very, very easy to add them yourself. Let's take a look at the phone design before we go into the specifications and looking at the UI. You can see across the front we've got this 5.5-inch 1920 by 1080 display, Corning Gorilla Glass 3 protection, 5 megapixel front-facing camera, got an Asus logo there. A front-facing logo on phones isn't something that we normally see, and a lot of people don't like it. I do have to say that it does look a little bit crowded up there with that Asus logo. It would have been a bit nicer if they just kept with the back one, but there it is, it's the front-facing logo. Got a bar between the chin and the screen where the buttons are, and if you've ever used a HTC phone, you'll see that's quite similar to the HTC M8 and M9. You'll also see that Asus haven't gone down the narrow bezel route. We've got quite thick bezels on the Zenfone 2, getting on to about 4mm thick. So although this is a 5.5-inch flagship for 2015, it's not really following the current design trends of a thin bezel, and it is a little bit wider than some other 5.5-inch phones. On the rear we've got this, it looks a bit like the LG G3. Got this volume rocker in the middle below the 13 megapixel camera and dual LED flash. Asus logo again. Intel inside, as this is an Intel powered phone. We've got this large speaker grill, but in fact the speaker is only on this side of the phone. And this, although it looks like a brushed metal finish, and it looks very, very classy, it's actually a plastic rear panel with this effect added to it to give it a metal look. Underneath here, the back panel does come off. You've got space for dual SIM cards, a micro SD card, and you can see the battery in there too, but it isn't removable. On the base, we've got a USB data connector there for transferring data and charging the phone. You'll see that on the left and the right there are no volume or power buttons, because obviously the volume rocker is on the rear and the power button is at the top in the middle next to a 3.5mm headphone jack. Personally, I'm not used to using a phone with the power button at the top. I prefer it on the side, but luckily Asus have included double tap to wake in their highly modified Asus UI, which is based on Android 5.0 Lollipop. So this is your lock screen when you get your Asus Zenfone 2. This is what it looks like. You've got your date and time. You've got shortcuts to your camera, phone and messages. And we've got Lollipop notifications there. And we can double tap those. And that'll take us directly in to whatever the notification is about. And you can see this is about Antutu, which I've already ran and show you the benchmarks in a moment. This is the home screen. From here you've got your applications in your different folders as usual. You can see that we have some notification icons to tell you how many emails and things you have. Apparently I've got 416 unread emails, so I should really get onto that soon. Swiping effects you can change just by simply holding down. You can change those effects. So that's the icon button, sorry, go back. You can change your scroll effect to different types of scrolling effects here. You've got wave, classic, revolving and flip card. Also from here you've got your widgets, your applications, wallpaper. You can get to your settings, so it's quite a handy little feature. Just press down on the screen and you've got those different settings there. Swipe down from the top brings up the Lollipop notification bar. You can see we've got Google Now running in there, and another swipe will take us into our quick settings where we can turn on the flashlight, Wi-Fi, and we can boost the memory. As you already know, this is running 4 GB of RAM, so you can run loads and loads of applications in the background. And to get through those, to clear them out, or to flip through them, you just hold down the right hand button there, and you can just go to each application just like a card. Or you can simply swipe them away. If we go into the app drawer, you can see that we've got a lot of Chinese applications on here. Being a Chinese phone, it comes with the Asus App Store rather than Google Play as standard. But if you know how to install Google Play on a Xiaomi phone using the installer APK, it's exactly the same method. You just download it and install it, and it all works without a problem. You've got Baidu Maps, you've got some different Chinese application here for travel, for news and other bits and bobs, and you'll need to root your phone to delete those using a special application from the App Store. If we go into the settings, you can see that Asus have changed everything about Lollipop on the Zenfone 2. Go to About the Phone, you can see we're running Android 5.0. And you'll also see that although this is a Chinese phone, it has all the languages that you would need. So if you're thinking of buying this phone to export to your own country and you need it in your own language, don't worry about it not having the language. You know, in some cases you buy a Chinese version of the phone, you have only English and Chinese languages, but as you can see, you've got all the standard Android languages built in. Okay, let's go back out of there. Alright, already mentioned you've got double tap to wake up, and that's the only on-screen gesture you have. There's no writing to open up different applications just yet. This is running the latest version of the Zenfone UI based on Lollipop, so they haven't added anything new to it just yet. One of the nice features I do like is the camera application. So this is the 30 megapixel rear camera. It's in auto mode, and I don't know if you noticed that, but you may have noticed, there you go, you can see it's asking me to turn HDR on. What I'm thinking it's doing, while I've been using it, I've noticed that in certain lighting conditions, when you have it in automatic, it will come up with this HDR icon to say, you know, your photo might be better if you turn HDR on. And that's quite a nice little feature to help you get a better photograph. In standard mode, taking photos is pretty fast. You can see the focus is fast. And snapping away is pretty quick too. You can also go through the different settings for different types of photo. You've got auto, manual, HDR, beautification, super resolution, which is a bit like the HD photo mode on Color OS. We've got a low light and a night setting, a depth of field, effect, I'm not sure what that does just yet. A selfie mode, and basically what you do, you set it up to tell it how many faces to recognize, and you can use the rear camera to take a selfie. What it'll do is, once it knows how many faces to look for, it will wait until it finds them, and then it will take the photo with the 30 megapixel rear camera for better selfies or selfies with the flash. Got time-lapse mode, all smile, smart remove, miniature, and time rewind. You've got tons and tons of camera applications on there, camera features, which are really nice. There are some really good ones in there, and actually the camera photos are pretty good. Let me just get away from these a second. There we go. Some photos that I took today at the park. They're really quite nice. You get some really good detail. You can see that we've got the focus here, the brake in the background. So the camera is actually pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with it. I'll have to get it on the camera to the computer to see just how good the pictures are. But so far so good, it's all looking really good. Okay, overall first impressions of the Zenfone 2 are pretty good. Although I'm not keen on the look of the phone and I'm not keen on the UI, although it is a feature-packed UI, it does look a bit too crowded, and it's not really the style I like. I prefer something a little bit simpler looking. But as a package, it's a great phone. It's got a great screen, a really nice camera, tons of features. It's really powerful. It has a hell of a lot of RAM. You could be running a lot of applications in the background and not worry about the phone slowing down at all. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with it. At the moment, the Zenfone 2 can be bought online in China for about $333 with international shipping included, which is a pretty good price for such a feature-packed phone. As you can see, I ran Antutu on it before. It comes in at 41,266 points. Nothing to be sniffed at. That's a pretty good score. So overall, it is a good phone. I am going to use it, and I probably will continue to use it until another phone arrives for review. So you know, that's pretty good. A full review for the Zenfone 2 will be up on Gizchina probably next week, so keep your eyes out for that. And thank you for Flowsmall for sending this over to us. Speak to you all soon. Goodbye.